degree, but to cancel you because majority thinks that what you have to say is not appropriate to them. To me, that cancel culture is not a good thing. It's kind of what's happening to Richard Dawkins right now.
Oh, what's
the cancel
happening with
culture is a
him?
problem.
I'm afraid I'm a bit out of touch there. What's happened to Richard Dawkins? Is he getting cancelled now?
Yeah, so yeah, the woke theology about LGBTQ and him being a biologist, he does stay in my opinion, he stays in his lane and comments on the science of sex and gender. And he does not accept their new terminology or their redefining of words to match their arguments. Instead of developing a better argument, they're redefining words. And he didn't accept that, and so it's causing some waves.
Right. So you're talking about him losing Humanist of the Year because of his trans comments. Is that what you mean?
That's correct. Yes, that's right. You're losing the trans. That's one of them. But also, you look at the ACA a little bit. Not turning on him, but definitely giving him a hard time and kind of separating the community. In my opinion, is not a good thing to do. We have such a small community. You're talking about atheists that we need to listen to each other and take all these reasoned arguments.
Because these words are important because they are about ideas, and if they're going to criminalize you telling the truth, I mean that's dangerous, isn't it? If somebody is criminalized for telling the truth, because we need to know stuff to function as people. We kind of need to know if something's safe or not safe, good or not good, and we need to be able to talk about it if we're not sure. And if anybody who's been kind of labeled and smeared and marginalized can't say anything, then we're just going to be depriving ourselves of the facts and the arguments to make sensible decisions about stuff.
Claire, can I just say, listen, I have no problem, like, anything. Okay, so it's TJump service, so he makes like the last call, and but it's just, I don't know, like, I don't know if it's like your past that makes me worried, or if it's
what is her past, Frank? Like, what? I don't know much about it, but what has she done?
She just has some very weird photos. Let's just say that are online. That I think
the Vice article.
Yes. Okay, Demon Victoria wants to come in, but and maybe she can expound on this a little more. But it's just weird to me, and that makes me worried to a certain extent. But Tom said we shouldn't worry about what people have done in the past. We should worry about what they're saying now. So.
Right. Well, I will say this. I mean, when I was younger, we had a funny photo float around our skeptics group that I shared with everyone, and it showed me as a 16-year-old male young man growing up in Georgia. I had a Confederate flag wrapped around me, and back then it was just because Leonard Skinner liked the Confederate flag. I didn't have anything to do with anything about it other than this looks cool. And but nowadays, when I shared that photo with everyone, they all laughed, and because they know that that's not who I am. But
toxic.
Yeah. So, but I'm not scared to have that photo out there and then analyze it and see where we've came from, and how we've grown.
It's
and
part of your history.
Yeah.
How can they cancel that?
How I was raised. Yeah.
I can't really stick around too long, but go ahead, Frank. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Demon. I wanted you to talk about it. So.
I can't stick around too long, but this is what I want to clear up. So, yeah, the picture came out. Yes, it was me. I made a mistake. I wasn't thinking, and it immediately was taken down. Now people saw it. I did join the voice. I was warned, and I said I was sorry. I came in the voice chat. Claire, you remember this? It said, sitting in the auto body, have a few questions, laid it out. I think that's on the Q&A. I don't know, but so I just don't want people getting, mixed up with the picture thing. The only other thing I'd say about that, I don't know how Discord works, but you're going to have to evaluate the risk in terms of does this make us look bad? I mean,
Right.
I found this by username. Her username, I don't know if the username and display name, you know how that works here in Discord, but she changed the, you know, name. So, you know, again, you're gonna have to evaluate that. I don't really think it's that big of a risk, but I don't know. That's up to you.
Yeah.
Now,
Well,
as far as her,
Tom already told me not to worry about it, so
yeah,
I'm all right with that.
I hate seeing people continually bring it up. It's kind of, you know, like, anyway. But the other thing is, I mean, so she's, you know, talking about, you know, a system based on the Quran. Yeah, it's controversial, and people, especially in the West, don't like it. But I don't know. It just doesn't. So it sounds like, Frank, you're kind of concerned, like, you know, could this be construed, you know, in a bad way that's going to, you know,
Right.
affect the channel in the future? I don't know. I think that really just depends on the reactions, or if Claire takes it to, you know, another level where she's saying these things. But you can't. I don't know how everybody's like constantly arguing with TJump. I mean, he's correct. I mean, you know, a lot of religious texts don't have good stuff in them, and he's not saying it. Claire, we've talked about this. I've kind of given you some ideas about how you could maybe, you know, help mitigate some of these issues. Like, for example, we talked about
Yes.
you could propose the Quran, but maybe let's take out some of the less acceptable, some of the things that just aren't going to be accepted in today's society, like, you know, maybe slavery, prostitution. I don't know. That would have to be discussed with the community. So instead of just like keep going at it, like, you know, the Quran, and then everybody's like homophobia and you know, all these other terrible things in there. Why can't we just? And I think that was mentioned earlier today, sometime in that chat, which is like, why don't? Okay, maybe you could try it, but look at it that way and kind of, you know, pick it apart a little bit more. You know, and maybe somehow, I don't know if that will work. I'm not going to speak on my opinion on that, but maybe somehow, you know, you could at least get to talking about it instead of just being every day. You come out and say something, they throw a bunch of rocks at you, and then just goes on and on and on for hours. I mean, I don't think you're going to get through to them by like the way that you kind of reply to them. It just seems like a vicious circle, and it's just not helping what you're trying to do. And it's, you know, I mean, I don't really think it's, you know, all that beneficial for people to just continually insult and clap back at you for hours. I mean, it's kind of a little crazy, but I understand why it's happening.
You know, I think eventually they'll get bored and they'll ask the next question. But I guess I have to be patient with them for them to think, oh, okay, we'll
that's the problem I'm seeing here is that you don't back down, they don't back down. So I don't know. I guess we'll see who gasses out first. But that's all I wanted to say. So I'll jump off.
Thank you, Victoria. Because I think, you know, for lots of these things, after a while, you know, okay, there's going to be a standoff, and then you know, somebody will find a way around the problem and ask a new question or talk about something else or try to get around it. And I'm just waiting for that to happen rather than the usual, you know, tired old insults. And maybe, you know, somebody new will be saying something, will be asking a more interesting question.
Are you trying to say something?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. First of all, good afternoon, everybody. Sorry to intrude here. But I wanted to follow up what Demon actually said though. Well, I don't know what Secular actually posted though, but I just have to say this though, like, you know, whatever she posted, Demon is actually right though. Like, you know, no matter if it's like if it's bad, then, you know, like, you know, if you keep on going then, you know, it's basically like you're not gonna gain out of that. Like, you know, it's basically like, you know, you're just going on forever and ever, and, you know, you're not like getting to your, you know, resolution though. I mean, to be honest with you, I've been through that. You know, I've tried to like admit their wrongs, or like keep on going and going and going, and it doesn't seem to work. And until a point that it comes to me that, you know what, I can't keep going, because if I keep going, then I'm not going to gain something out of it. Like, you know, basically I'm just going to gain hatred from that person. Of course, you have your rights to post whatever you want though, but if it's something bad, then yeah, I wouldn't like keep on posting something bad, you know, over and over and over again. Like, you know, it's like nothing then you're not going to gain something out of that. Just wanted to say that, respectfully saying.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't
I
even know
have to
what was
understand
posted.
Right.
that people will hate it. I mean, but at least it's a reaction rather than turning the page. Because I mean, I guess it's the only way of showing that I'm serious about it. But if I ran away immediately, it would mean I'm not being serious about it. And obviously, there are ways of undermining these things, and you can find other ways, other than telling lies about me and saying I'm this or that. I mean, the idea in itself can be taken apart, possibly. But if you can't take it apart, then then maybe it's okay. I mean, this whole thing about, yesterday, I'm saying it's the best available guide to humanity, whether you believe in God or not. And these people who hate it, they can't think of a better guide. And I thought it was just worth doing just to get to this point. That they couldn't think of a better book. I mean, I was suggesting, Communist Manifesto, or, all kinds of things, and they didn't like that either. So, I thought we got to, I can't think of the word anyway.
Right. Well, that much.
Everybody has a way of thinking differently. We don't
Yeah.
Claire,
think.
again, the same thing I've been telling you for like the past week. It's just, again, you have to. I don't know how good you are with philosophy, but if there's not a logical contradiction between there being a better moral system that's secular, then you can't just say the Quran is the best. Because obviously, maybe we haven't found what the best is yet. So it's a godly gas fallacy as well. It's so many fallacies rolled into one. It's just, I don't know.
Well, maybe I should hang around until somebody finds something better. How about that? And then we can talk about it. I mean, there should, there should be some attempt to allow the argument to develop, rather than, oh, we don't like that, cancel the person. It's like, well, there is a question being asked. It hasn't been answered. Let's wait for all the answers to come in. And this is my proposition, that it's the best available guide. And if I'm wrong, okay, I'm wrong. But can somebody find a better guide, or at least try?
Claire,
Well, I mean, we talked about this before, Claire, and we said that, we don't need to, we don't need a presupposed God in law. We already have laws that are based, that are, some of them are supposedly based off of reason, not off of, oh well, this book says a thing.
Yeah, but what's so unreasonable about the laws that I propose? These are the laws that used to be in force in colonial America. This one about unmarried parents. There used to be corporal punishment. There used to be capital punishment. It's not, completely out of this world. So why can't we talk about it in a civilized way? It's not something that never happened in your history. It's just that you can't talk about it anymore for some reason.
Oh well, I'm not against you talking about it. I mean, you saw in the chat that I have no idea what you posted that caused so much controversy, but I mean, I don't care because you're not directly advocating for political violence, so I couldn't care less unless it
Thank
was
you
like,
for acknowledging that.
yeah.
I mean, I just, wouldn't. I don't have an army, and I thought, a philosophy group would be the best place, with the best minds who really want to, analyze ideas and deconstruct them and all that. I thought, this would be the best place to test my ideas to destruction. And it'd be sad to go and try it somewhere else. I mean, I do like this group. I mean, other groups are too big, others are too small, and I quite like it. And people are quite well behaved on the whole. You get a few rogue ones, but it's a nice place. I think it is anyway.
Well, it's been a while since I mean, I think that this is probably the first time that we've had such a polarizing figure on the on in the server. I mean, at any other time we've had anyone who kind of had dissenting views.
Well, you cut out there.
Especially people that advocated for violence or. All right, give me 1 second. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, you're not cutting out.
Okay. No, I was going to say that, I've been in the server for about 2 years, maybe a little longer. And to be honest, we haven't really had anyone that had such a polarizing opinion, I would say. And it's just something new. I don't know, so maybe anyway, I don't know. You guys can keep going. I'm just saying this is just all new to me, so
Yeah, but I suppose it is quite.
But I don't have anything against it, Claire. I don't have anything against you at all. Like, honestly, I promise. You know me. Like, if I have an opinion against you, I will tell you. Like, I'm not gonna hide from it. Like, I will tell you. So,
Yeah.
And I don't see any problem with you being in the server. So,
Thank you.
Yeah, totally okay with.
But I mean, I recognise that it's radicalism, but I think I'm really, in the best place where the best brains are to discuss these things. So,
Hey, Claire,
hello.
I have a question for you. Are you a politician, or do you vote, or are you espousing some kind of political view that can affect others, or are you just basically espouting a political opinion?
I have been a political activist. I was a member of a political I have been a member of political parties. So yes, I would say that my purposes would be political, and which is all about changing the law, which is
hey, Captain, your mic, brother.
Sorry.
Wait.
It's very noisy.
Give me a second.
Hey, Captain,
your
mute
mic.
yourself. Your sound is coming.
Mute yourself, Captain, please. Thank you. All right, go on, Claire.
So yes, I mean, I think all ideas are intended to cause change for the better, and obviously, I would like to have my ideas challenged instead of thinking, I'm right. I don't mind the hatred. I don't mind the questions. I don't mind the mockery. But it would be, better than we don't like it. You can't make us. We don't want to. It would be, what you propose is evil, mistaken, insane, and give reasons. And that would be, what I hope would be the best way of resolving it.
Can you tell me what exactly, for the ones of us here that don't know what the picture was, or what your main controversy is, like controversial statement was? Can you bring to light what that is? I'm not sure what it is.
Yes. Claire, if you can explain the picture one more time, that'd be cool.
I thank you for giving me the opportunity. I'm basically saying that our government should govern in a national interest. We already know that, there will be times when the government will tell us to do things that we don't want to do, but we are more likely to do those things, make those sacrifices, if we feel that the government has the best interests of the nation at heart and is thinking about the long-term national interest. And therefore, we should just aspire to have a government that governs in the national interest, and I want to be able to discuss what that actually means. What is a national interest? And what may be considered controversial is I want to define nationalism as government in a national interest, and so we can go on to universalize and rehabilitate the idea. And then I know you're going to say, oh, but what about these terrible people who in Germany and Italy who thought they were doing something in a national interest? And my answer would be they probably thought they were doing what was going to give them glory and victory and all that, but it didn't work. So something went wrong there, and I think it's something to do with how people frame their foreign policy, how they feel their country should, what kind of relationship their country should have with other countries, and how they govern themselves, which is the same as us as individuals. Are we going to be nice to people? Are we going to be mean? Do we have the power to kick other people around? Is it a good idea to do that? And we need to every now and then think about our behaviour. And I think governing in the national interest will concentrate our minds on doing that. So for every government policy, we can ask our politicians, or our politicians can argue amongst themselves whether what is proposed is in the national interest or not. And I think that would actually focus their minds on doing stuff that actually makes sense.
Isn't that what a constitution is? Is a declaration of what is in the conscious interest of the population?
Well, I don't know if the does the US Constitution say anything like that? It only talks about
Anything
rights,
like
as far
what?
as I know.
Well, it states things like life, liberty, and longing, and these are the values that we aspire to. And is that not what you're talking about?
I'm saying that our politicians, or any politician in any government, should have the considerations of the national interest at heart.
Yeah, that's not what I asked.
When
If the nation already has an established set of what is in the public interest, then the politician simply needs to refer to.
Can you give me an example of this?
Sure, life, liberty, and longing, the fundamentals of the Enlightenment.
That's for the individual.
What?
It's what the individual citizen, the individual American citizen, is supposed to have a right to do. But about governing in the national interest, I don't think the Constitution deals with it at all. But Washington's farewell speech, that deals with it. But the first time I heard or read it was in February this year, and it strikes me that the American government is doing exactly the opposite of what Washington advised.
Well, there's also the argument to be made that you shouldn't be talking about the American government now if we're talking about what it was established on, unless there's consensus that how it was established isn't what is going on now. And I don't think you're going to have many people that claim that the America of today is the America of what it once was.
But the principles are surely...
Yes, which is irrelevant about today. The principles were established back then, so we can discuss the principles.
Yes,
that has nothing to do with whether or not a politician is obeying them now.
But we need to consider the national interest and ask ourselves whether our politicians even think about this.
Right.
I may
if
be
there's
able
an
to
established national
clarify.
interest already, shouldn't that be what we're discussing?
I don't know what you mean by established national interest. What does it mean?
The entire Constitution is based off the idea of Jean Locke, the value of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Are you familiar with this?
Yes, of course I am. But you're going back to the right of the individual. But I'm talking about government policy and what the government thinks it should be doing.
I'm not sure why you think there's a difference, because there's no difference. If
there is a difference.
No. If you think there's a difference, then you are factually incorrect. Because life, liberty, and longing, if it is an individual value, and if this is what is espoused by a political body as the fundamental tenets that they're building their society on, then the idea of rights and responsibilities needs to be addressed. That if you're claiming that someone has these rights, other people who share the same society have the responsibility to protect those rights, because they go both ways. You have the right to life. I have the right to life. It is my responsibility to conduct myself to protect your right to life, and it is your responsibility to conduct yourself to protect my right to life. It's a two-way street. You don't ever have rights and responsibilities without they're a paired set. You have them together.
I think we're talking past each other. I mean, of course, I wouldn't deny that we should, within the rule of law, be allowed to have the right to life and have our rights to property protected and seek happiness within the law. I think the way it was put was meant to be motherhood and apple pie. But what I'm talking about is the national interest of any country, and Washington does talk about what to do and what not to do in his farewell speech. And I've spoken to quite a few Americans, and they don't seem to be aware of it. I found to my surprise. So
But
I
what we
suppose I
do,
was
what we do
hoping
in,
we could discuss it, but maybe not. I don't know.
in America, we vote. We have democracy, and so we vote for these political offices, and that's how we, as people, can kind of have our input into this situation. I think, though, that the controversy that we're speaking of, though, is the picture that's going around where you're next to somebody with a swastika there, and you have a T-shirt that has Hitler on there. Now, I personally, like you, Claire, I think that you should stay. I'm in favor of free speech, and you should be allowed to say things. But I think that's the controversy that people probably want to be addressed.
Well, I can't.
Wait, give me a second, Claire. She's addressed it, and regardless of what you do in the past, like for instance, if you were a someone who like went to jail or did something like that, doesn't necessarily mean we should deplatform that person. So, I mean, in that sense, I totally like. I'm okay with. I guess my question to you, Claire, would be like involved. Like, okay, with that picture, like, would you say you still have the same thoughts, and do you think they influence your opinions today?
Okay, I'll explain again the reason why I had those photos taken. I felt I needed to associate myself permanently and in a very memorable way with the concept of nationalism, which I would then try to which I hoped I could define as government in the national interest, and to develop the idea of governing in the national interest, and that was what I hoped I could do. And obviously my defense would be, well, I can't be a member of that party. I was born after the war. I do not hate Jews. I have never advocated violence or hatred against them. And I challenge anybody to find anything that I have ever said that could be construed as being anti-Semitic. And that I thought would win me the argument. And the other thing would be that it would be impossible for me to be a Nazi, even if I wanted to be, because I would at least have to be a German citizen, a German speaker, a member of that party. But I'm not.
That might be single-handedly the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. That is almost factually untrue on every regard.
How?
I think I agree with guys like that. I think they're trying to explain to you that America itself is not like other countries because we have laws and rules to not only protect American citizens, but the entire public and the world also. But, I get where they're coming from, but America is not like the same as other countries. I get that you were raised and born in a war, though, but you have to realize to yourself that America is not like other countries. It's a completely different thing.
Yeah, we have people that consider themselves Nazis in America. They call them neo-Nazis. It's fairly common, unfortunately. But I think that it seemed to me that they liked you because of your policies or your opinions on infanticide, and they seem to like to kill a lot.
Who is they? Who is
the Nazis? The Nazis?
I don't know any. I don't actually.
Give me a sec. Give me 1 sec, guys.
I don't know any.
Guys, give me 1 sec. Give me 1 sec. Yeah. Too cool to vet. If you want to come in, you raise your hand and I let you in. So come in, brother. Keep going, guys. Go ahead.
I don't know any of these people.
So the difference is in America. In America, you have the right to be a nationalist. You have the right to be racist or a black nationalist or a white nationalist. You have the right and the freedom to be that way. In other countries, the difference is we're not sanctioning it. The government doesn't sanction it, but there's a lot in America of black nationalists, white nationalists, racism. Mm-hmm. So what she's saying is, I think, and I don't want to straw man your position, is that let's just say that she was wanting to be more of a humanist nationalist, is what I guess she would say. Something that advances to the human race more and everybody behind it. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes, because it's my belief that people are happier living under a government that they believe to be governing in a national interest, and then people are settled and they trust the government and they think that the right people are in charge and they're not doing crazy things such as fighting wars that they're going to lose and dragging their country into defeat and disaster as certain countries did in World War II and the war before that. So if people were actually thinking properly in a national interest, then there wouldn't have been two ruinous world wars and all these ideas. Can be, war can be regulated by having certain rules, such as the Geneva Convention, and people do how to treat prisoners of war and that kind of thing. And I'm saying these principles exist in the Quran, and then there's also a principle in the Quran that only defensive wars are allowed, and if people actually read the book and absorbed its principles, they might even accept that it's an okay way to conduct international relations, and that was what I was hoping to do. And obviously, having the correct moral system would be in the national interest. And I was hoping to have these subjects discussed properly, which I don't think they are at the moment.
Even though I don't agree with a lot of Claire's stuff, I think she's a nice person, and I believe in freedom of speech, and I would be against letting her go from the server. I say let her stay.
Thank you, strong atheist.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah, I also
I agree totally.
Say stay as well. Stay as well.
Yeah, I also have something to say though, to Claire. Yeah, you have the freedom of speech, and I believe that you're a good person, and of course, you have every rights to have your freedom of religion, freedom of speech, and I believe that there's good in all of us, and also in yourself. But just don't stop believing. Always keep moving forward, never give up. I have faith in you.
Thank you, Captain Professor.
Explain to me how removing her from the server would violate her freedom of speech.
I believe that you're denying her freedom of speech on the server, at least, not internationally, but on the
freedom
server.
of speech does not apply to a privately owned
This is
platform.
now Claire's trial.
No, I'm just tired of the word freedom of speech being thrown around. Just because we have a platform does not mean she's entitled to use it.
That's freedom of speech in principle, not legally.
She is
right?
literally here because of Tom's popularity. She can't get this kind of exposure on her own, so she's here to glom onto Tom's popularity. Why should we allow that?
Everyone else can say what they want too.
Yeah. Everybody can
She's not calling.
Strengthens my
for
argument.
violence
Strengthens my
against
argument.
People, hopefully.
You can say what you want, bro. But you can't kick her out just because she's trying to say something.
I absolutely can. My point is, she's here because of Tom's popularity. She's not promoting Tom in any way.
Of course,
she's promoting her own bad shit. Shut up, Claire. I'm not talking to you right now. I'm asking everybody else.
Oh, he's mad.
No, I'm just tired of this bullshit. I'm tired of people thinking she's all nice and contrite, and she's not. She's flat out duping all of
evil.
It sounds.
Right,
Who
right.
has to like background?
Captain
noise?
Professor,
you're
Captain
fucking up
Professor, you need
again.
to mute your mic. You're hot micing really bad. Thank you.
So yeah, if it's ask Discord, like if it's a real concern, then you can ask the overlords at Discord, and they can give you the answer. Just ask them.
Yeah.
Because my position is I'm freedom of speech like hardcore. Like I don't care if there are actual white nationalists. I was happy with what's his name, Razor, coming in and talking about his crazy stuff. Like I don't care at all about people's ridiculous positions. Like obviously no one's going to start following the cult of Claire and join secular Koranism. That's ridiculous. So I'm not worried about her gaining a following. That's for sure.
I'm not either. I'm not either. Don't get me wrong.
I like having people like her here as a way to like test your debate skills. Here, go up against this new ideology you've never heard before to see what it's like to have a conversation with it. So I enjoy talking with Claire about her silly ideas.
And again, I've made this quite clear. My only concern, Tom, is losing the platform.
Yeah, so if that's a concern, go ask Discord. Find out.
All right, I will. I'll pursue it. I just want to make sure that part is being considered.
Sure. It's a valid concern. I appreciate your valuing of the server, and it is definitely something that we should consider, and we should find out if that is a risk, and if it is a risk, we have to protect against it. But
I've just seen other Discord servers get shut down for much dumber reasons.
I'm sure there's probably lots of examples of that, but that's why if we have like a record from Discord asking them about this and they say it's fine, then they probably won't shut us down for it because we've literally asked them. So
well, I'm traveling today, so when I get back this week, I will start that ball rolling and make sure that we're not skating the line.
All right, that sounds good. I'm gonna go back to playing video games now.
I'm also concerned about I don't know if you saw, but the shit she DM'd Jen.
I haven't looked at any DMs. I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'll shoot you the screenshots.
But why? Like, if she DM'd something, that means she would get banned from Discord. That wouldn't have anything to do with our server, would it?
Usually people, and I don't know that there's something in TOS about harassing members of the server, but
currently we got it set so that members can message other members, and that's the only thing that can be turned off.
I haven't messaged her.
Okay.
But I have interacted her in the chat. He's basically.
I did hear from Jen that she sent her pictures of in a bathtub or something weird like that. But I haven't bothered verifying that. That's on Jen's.
Claire, that's so weird. Oh my god.
I'm just kidding. I'm not trying to be like intransigent.
Yeah, harassment is definitely like a bannable offense if that's actually true. I mean, but I don't really know which one of them is more trustworthy.
Yeah, I didn't pursue that. Jen's just as batshit crazy as Claire is. So
yeah, that's true.
So I don't care what the two said to each other, but as long as they don't involve us.
I'm just worried about the risk of it possibly going.
So I would just say tell Jen if that's the case. Jen can report her, and then Discord can take care of it. But we have no way to verify one way or the other.
Okay.
Agreed.
All right. Fanatical socialists, you want to talk about your belief real quick before I told you to come in because you have some different views too, so go for it, bro.
My view is that I support the death penalty. That's it.
That's fanatical.
Yeah, that's fanatical.
That's not like really radical.
Yeah, that's not radical at all.
In theory, I support it too, but there are a lot of conditions involved.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Yeah, I don't know. I was expecting more of a shit show.
Once Tom comes in, everything kind of calms down, so that's a good thing.
Support the death penalty. Also, I just think they should even go a little past beyond reasonable doubt to make sure that they put the right person to death.
Yeah, that's one of the conditions, is that you'd have to be able to show several things. For example, that they are actually completely incorrigible and that you were protecting the public interest by killing them, which is a pretty high standard to set.
I'm for gladiators. I think that if criminals would like to be in combat in gladiators, that's totally consensual and it's fine.
Yeah, me too. That's awesome too. That would be cool. Yeah.
Someone was trying to tell me about that the
same
other
guy,
day.
hot mic professor or something.
Yeah, he muted himself. But somebody was trying to tell me that the other day. And we realized that there might be a problem with that gladiator idea because you would be promoting and kind of glorifying this kind of violence. And then you would have people who would want to become gladiators. Now, I know that if your whole ideology is based on consent, you probably don't care. But
I mean, that's not, there's a bigger concern would be is when you're in prison, you can be forced to do things against your will until you can be compelled to become one, even if you don't want to. And that would be a bigger concern.
Yeah. It's true too.
Yeah, like if a citizen says, I want to be a gladiator and join the criminal gladiator system, well, one, they could just do a crime to do that. But
Right.
I don't know
It
if
could be
that
a sign
technically
up
be a bad
booth.
thing. Because that was a real thing in Rome where people would fight with gladiators, citizens. That is a thing.
Hey,
Yeah,
Tom.
just a sign up booth at the local police station.
Hey, Tom. Before you go, I just want to tell you we had a stage yesterday with like 150 people. So
Yeah, I think Don was telling me about that. Where was it Illmatic pretending to be Jay Dyer again?
yeah, he was in here for a while, and then that guy Khalil, who by the way is probably never going to debate you, Tom, because I think he's afraid of you. I mean, personally, that's just my opinion, but he came in and was talking to a whole bunch of different people. So
that's good.
Yeah.
He admitted he didn't want to get dumpstered.
Yeah. That was the highest we've ever gotten. So
cool.
Yeah. Hopefully we
It's
do
a
another one.
good thing I didn't do the live stream to
Q&A?
distract from that.
No, it would have been awesome if you would have came in, man. I was the reason I did it was to see if you would have looked at it and been like, hey, let me pop in, So
Do you think people showed up because they were expecting the live stream, and when it didn't happen, they just stayed for the conversation?
150? No way, because my live streams don't usually get up to that much, even close.
No,
So
it wasn't because of that. It was because I asked some people on the server to jump in so that we can be on stage discovery, and because other servers weren't really doing a Does God Exist debate. I mean, we were the only ones who were doing it, so we got a lot of new people that came in. So
yeah, it was a good title. Does God Exist is a good title.
Is that what you used for the live stream?
Yes. Yeah,
I think the title "Does God Exist" is quite broad. And
Play your hot mic.
There's someone has wind blowing in the background.
Koranism, you're hot micing. You need to mute your mic.
Sorry.
There you go. That was pretty good. So probably gonna do another one.
Is this the trial of Claire? What's going on here?
I just wanted to get.
This is the witch burning. We're going to burn Claire at the stake.
I just wanted to get basically Tom, Scotty, Illmatic, maybe Quantum Foam's opinion on what they thought about Claire and what we should do. And Tom already spoke, so I didn't even make it public. I made it just for members, so it's just I just wanted to get that out of the way. So
Nice. It's been pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
And my position is I'd like to allow as many ideas as possible, as long as I don't violate the terms of service. I enjoy talking to people who are crazy. So I want
Until they
lots of
get
crazy
boringly
ideas.
repetitive.
I'm fine with that. They're always boring and repetitive. That's not a new thing. As long as they don't ask me the same questions over and over again, then that gets boring. But
that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Not only am
so
I crazy, I'm fanatical.
Yeah, I'm for having as many different ideas as possible. I liked the Razor white supremacist guy. He was fun to talk with. Pretty reasonable for a white supremacist guy. So as long as they don't violate terms of service, I want to allow as many different ideas as possible.
Yeah. I think that's for what it's worth, agree with that. I think there's kind of no point in philosophy if we have to cover up ideas we don't like instead of learning how to navigate them especially if you think a certain set of ideas is gaining traction and becoming dangerous, wouldn't you rather be able to know how to talk your way around it, instead of it being a foreign idea to you, because you can ban people that you think are dangerous, and they're just going to scurry off into some obscure forum and with like-minded people and escalate their degree of radicalness, like they do in like techist circles and stuff. So,
well, I see it like Pokemon. Like you get the rare, strange kinds of Pokemon, and you have to learn how to beat them because it's a new strategy you haven't tried yet. So,
yeah, that's pretty good.
But
Yeah,
even boxing matches have limited rounds. I mean, you don't keep fighting forever, right? You give the guy the arena.
Anybody
and give him a
can
chance.
mute. Anybody can just ignore Clara so you can't see her messages. Like it's not hard to block people so you don't see their messages on Discord. This is not a difficult thing to do.
But Tom, can I ask you a question before you go? So Claire's whole deal is that she thinks the Quran is like the best form of like morality that there is, and obviously you would disagree with that. But I try to tell her all the time. I say, Claire, like, is it possible that a secular morality could be better? And she just doesn't seem to want to like respond to that. Not to respond, but I don't know. It's like she's dodgy sometimes. I will say that much.
Isn't the Quran divine command theory?
Well, she's not the best conversationalist. Like she's very verbose and uses lots of very odd words and language, but it's not like so.
Yeah, I just wanted to get your opinion on it.
Is the Quran not divine command theory from beginning to end?
Divine command?
Yeah, whatever God says is fine. It doesn't matter what he says.
Pretty much.
Right, that's not morality at all, so it can't be a morality system.
Well, since it says it's moral, like I am.
Well, I can say I'm a cheese sandwich. It doesn't mean anything.
It's defining morality differently.
Well, she wants to implement it as a political system because she thinks it would be good for society.
The most inhuman, anti-human focus that you can have would be good for humans.
Yeah, it's silly, but that's her position.
Yeah, I just don't understand how she says like there isn't a better one. Like that's the only thing I have a disagreement with Claire about. Like, I don't know.
Literally anything is better than not focusing on the needs of humanity.
I think that the best system imaginable, well, that I can imagine, I can't really think of a good system. I can just think of traits that would make a good system.
I think my system is probably the best system, but
yeah, and I'm on board with Tom that his system mirrors my own enough that I have no problem with it, and it's a completely secular system and it works.
But I think like the more interesting questions would be like asking Claire, why do you think whipping unmarried people is a good thing? What benefit would this have that we can't achieve in better ways with other systems? Like that would be an interesting discussion to have rather than just saying, oh, you're advocating for violence. Like that's boring.
Right.
Well, the part I can't get past is where the usefulness of the text is derived from the authority, which is the God, which she doesn't believe in.
No,
so there's no plumb line.
Jordan Peterson says the usefulness of the text is its effectiveness in society, which is actually a better authority than an invisible sky daddy. So if you can judge a book by how compelling it's been in society, that's actually a evidence-based metric to say this is something that can be used to compel people. So Claire has a point that this is the second most popular religion in the world, and so using it as a basis to say this is good at compelling and controlling people, yeah, it is. That is true.
It's fine, but why couldn't you just be a ghostwriter for a Sky Daddy that's a la plus 9,000 XP and say, here's my rule set, so here you go.
Well, the point would be is like what has worked in the past to gain a following, and the Quran and the Bible have. So, I mean, you can make up something else, but until it actually gains several billion people following it, it wouldn't be as supported evidentially as compelling as the current ones.
That's
then I guess to say who are you compelling? Like current Muslims who actually believe in Allah, or people who aren't going to believe in it anyways?
No, the point is that she's saying here is an idea that did in the past compel a lot of people. It is effective at compelling human beings. And we know that because it has compelled a lot of human beings. That's the only claim there.
Do you think its effectiveness makes it a good system, like compared to something like what your system is?
The argument
like,
would be is that because it has been effective at combining human beings together in a society, that ability that it has been demonstrated to have, mine has not been demonstrated to have, so it has an advantage over mine in that sense, which is a perfectly valid argument.
Right.
But the no holds barred means of wanting to combine people also needs to be evaluated as whether or not there are some things that are obviously going to work to unite people. I mean, unite behind a common enemy like Ender's Game. If we all hate the same person, then yes, we can be united. That's not a great idea, though.
Yeah, but that's the next question. It would be like, so obviously certain ideologies spread significantly faster than other ideologies, and the question is why, and is this a good thing? Obviously, conquering people and killing them and forcing them to convert to your religion is a very effective means of doing this. Does that mean it's good or bad, and why is the next part of the question? But the initial argument is that we know it's effective at guiding human beings, a very large portion of human beings, which is true. Like, yes, the Quran and the Bible are both very, very good at guiding a lot of human beings to follow those tenets. It's true. Then we ask, is this a good thing? Why are the next questions?
See, the one thing I'm looking at is if you look at the 7 Noahide laws, right? She says there's no penalty for 2 of the idolatry and blasphemy. Fine, okay, that'd be fine under secular Koranism. But the other 5, I just see them as something that's even more widely accepted as the golden rule, and I just don't know why you just ditch all the baggage of the Quran and just use the golden rule. Seems way more useful.
Because the whole justification of her position is that this is the thing that has been effective at guiding the most people. The golden rule is not. The Quran and the Bible are. So if the main justification of your position is well, what compels the most people, and that is the most important thing to you, or what you think is the most important feature in an ideology, well, then you're going to pick the ones that have done that the most, which is Christianity and Islam.
I actually argue that our ancient ancestors invented the ethos of reciprocity by pure practicality. They recognized that cooperation was the best way to succeed, and they formed communities and tribes because of it. And that's been the way we got here.
Yeah, that would be a perfectly fine argument. But if in your position, you're trying to say, well, what is the best principle? That's what you consider to be the most important thing in assessing an ideology. But in Claire's, that's not. What the most important thing in Claire's is what has created the biggest thing in the past. That's the first and most important consideration in evaluating an ideology, which means Bible, Quran. Those win by default because of the criteria, which ideology has attracted the most people. Those 2 are objectively the answer.
Yeah, but it was attractive because of the God, though.
Well, because doesn't matter. The because doesn't make a difference here. The whole point of our position is well, what has attracted the most people? That matters more than anything else.
It just seems like you're doing quad-edition version of Islam. You're like saying, should I follow the Quran or the secular Quran? I mean, people are going to want to gravitate, if they're religious, they're going to want to gravitate to the one with the God. It seems like.
Isn't she like advocating for the same thing? Does she make any changes to the Quran? It's just the Quran, right?
No, it's just the Quran. Yeah.
Yeah. So her calling it a secular Quran is just irrelevant. She's just advocating for the Quran.
Yeah,
okay,
the other
just
day,
be a Muslim then. It's fine.
Well, she's just being honest that she doesn't believe in the God, but she thinks the political system is correct. So there's nothing confusing about her position. She's advocating for the Quran, exactly like the Muslims are.
Except that, as far as I understand it, Islam, there's no separation of church and state. They view everything as a complete package. It is a theocracy.
Yeah.
So, the American system, our legal system and judicial system seem to be as good as we can get, in my opinion, aside from TJump's individual world's position.
Yeah, I think that's a valid argument. You can say that she's wrong and that the Quran is dumb and a terrible political system, and we have lots of better political systems. That's an interesting conversation to have. Like, that's definitely an argument you should have with her and say, no, the Quran has dumb ideas. Here are better ideas like America. That's perfectly valid.
Yeah, we kind of dipped into that before with the discussion of liberty and imposition. Well, you call it imposition or imposition of will, and I refer to it as maximal liberty, but yes.
Yeah, it kind of aligns with what I was.
Those sound like synonyms. So it sounds.
Yeah. It's just I go with the Lockean view of it.
I just don't see anything novel. If you might as well just be Muslim.
The other day when
her position isn't advocating for anything extra to Islam. She's just being honest that she doesn't believe in God, and she's still advocating for Islam. So I don't think that's not really a criticism of her position.
Is that right, Claire? It sounds like to me, it sounds like she's trying to put a book on the shelf or put an ideology on the shelf and sort of be a seller of it that says this is secular Koranism.
Well, I wanted to emphasize that it guarantees freedom of belief, and it's optional. You can believe in it or not believe in it or not be sure, but as long as you obey the laws, everything will be fine. And which is like the First Amendment.
Claire, the question is you're just advocating for the Quran, right? There's no changes to it. Secular Quranism isn't anything different than Quranism.
Yes, that's true. But yeah, subject to my interpretation. Yeah.
Yeah, so she's not advocating for anything different in the Quran. She's just being honest about the fact she doesn't believe in the God, and she's still just advocating for the Quran.
Fair enough.
So the secular part is just irrelevant. She's just honestly representing her beliefs.
Yeah, fair enough. So when it comes to doing what we
you cut out.
Oh, sorry. This push to talk thing is not working too well. So in your moral framework, where does the grounded authority come from? Like, is it subjective or objective?
So I'm not sure if that ties into the previous conversation. Like, what she values is the ability to compel people, and the fact that it compels people is what matters more than whether or not there's an objective basis of morality. That's not. It seems to me that the main value, or what she sees the most value in when assessing an ideology, is how good it is at getting people to obey it or to follow it. That seems to matter more than anything else.
Yeah, we've had side discussions about the moral framework behind it, not just the ideology. I was kind of curious how.
Your question was about a previous separate conversation. Got it.
Yeah. So.
Gaspar, what were you going to say, man? Go for it.
Okay, let's see. Let's see. She told me the other day that she didn't. She believed in the idea of God, but not necessarily God. And then that the laws of the legal system were generated were divine law, and so that's why I was trying to smooth out that whole issue of like, how is there a divine law if the God you're talking about is an idea? And then she said that she thinks that believing in God, whether it's real or not, believing in God is going to be more conducive to implementing or living out the values of this system. So, and that's why I did say, and I guess this is pretty much what Tom has already covered, is that she is taking a purely pragmatic approach here. So it really is just a question of whether you like it or not. And she's not actually making the case for theism, so there's almost nothing to hit, in my opinion.
Well, no, I think you could say she's just wrong that it's pragmatic. Like, it would not actually be good to implement this, and that is a debate point.
Okay. Well, I mean, wrong by what standard?
Any measurable metric of health and well-being. Would this produce more food? No. Would this produce better outcomes of happiness? No. Would this produce more equity? No. Would this have a fair criminal system? No.
Okay, here's the thing. I agree with you. I'm not a big fan of the Quran, but I know plenty of people who would say that they split hairs and who would advocate for the Quran, and they'd come up with all these reasons. And at the end of the day, we'd be arguing about these arbitrary values like what you just listed. So, I mean, yeah.
That would be fine. So those wouldn't be arbitrary, because in a debate, you're trying to compel the audience, not the person you're debating. So if you could say, mine gives more money, mine gives more food, mine gives less crime, less criminals, a better lifestyle, then you've won the debate. That's all you need to do. If you can show that here are the objective qualities that my system does that your system doesn't do, and then if they don't care about those qualities, they can subjectively not care, but you've already won the debate, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, so I think what you're saying is that you're not trying to convince the other person, you're trying to sell it to the audience, and I think that is what Claire's trying to do. She's trying to sell her model to the audience. I just don't think it's maybe has a lot of good selling points, which is what you're saying. However, I wouldn't go as far as to call those points objective. I've known plenty of Muslim people who seem to be really happy living in the captivity of that culture.
They're objectively measurable values that exist in reality, not necessarily objectively good. It doesn't matter if they're objectively good.
Okay. What are these measurable values that you're talking about?
Lifespan, health, wellness, food sources, jobs, income, amount of people in prison, people committing crimes. All measurable things that people measure in society in general.
All right. This is just at a certain point where like I don't know these facts relating to Islam. So if you know these stats as they relate to Islam, then you have more data than I do. So
But yeah, but the point here is that if her goal is to be compelling, she's like the Muslim Jordan Peterson essentially. Then in order to beat her, you just provide something that's more compelling. You win the debate.
Right.
So
I think that's
I agree.
Because she's always saying that. Basically, Claire's always saying like, provide one better. Like give us something that's better than the Quran that can do what the Quran does. So. And
which begs the question that what was provided was good.
Frank.
No, that doesn't beg the question. It just provides a starting point. So here is the starting point. You can just say, here are all the facts about Islam, what Islam does in the society, and then you can just pick one and say, okay, so I want a society that women are educated. So then you just pick a different alternative that provides more women's education and say, okay, this one's better at this.
Yeah.
And she can either say, no, it's not, and here's some facts or something, or she can say that's not important. If she just said it's not important, then you win. You can say yes, it is. That's fine. If you disagree, your ideology is stupid. I win. That's fine.
All right, guys. I think we've hashed it out. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
Well, I guess my only thing to that is like, what kind of example could you give? I mean, be like, show me a team that's better than the.
You cut out again. Team that's better than
the Patriots. That's won more Super Bowls, and I could give you ways on how a team could get better than the Patriots, but nobody's better than the Patriots, right?
Right. So if your goal is to present one that has a bigger population, Christianity, that would work. Or you could just say one that provides better education for people, better technology, more Nobel Prizes, more wealth, longer life expectancy, less disease. Like you can just pick essentially any statistic used to measure human health, and you can find better examples in the Quran.
So if I drew a linkage between how basically the golden rule gets you the same, 7 Noahide laws that you basically operating under, all other things equal, I don't see, ditching the rest of the baggage of the book, I don't see how it doesn't improve, but that's just me.
Yeah, you can make that argument that you can have you can have all of the good things in the Quran without all the bad things.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's all.
Hey, Bo, you have to agree. You have to accept the invite if you want to come in, man. I already let you in, and you didn't want to come in, so there you go, brother. Anything you want to say? Go for
I
it.
actually keep forgetting how that works.
Yeah.
No, I heard a comment a while ago, and I'm not sure what's going on, but TJump, I'm the one that paid for your first debate against Khalil. He was Justin back then. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, but he backed out. He refuses to debate me now.
Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking if it's just a question of money, I'd pay for that one too. But if he kind of doesn't really go after the big guns. He goes after the small ones.
Yep. Because I had a debate scheduled with him and he backed out last minute.
Did you?
Well, I asked him if he wanted to debate you, and I was going to set it up. You know how we do it, and then he said, "Well, no, I don't want to debate Tom," and I was like, "Okay." So.
You know who Shane? Tom, you know Shane the skeptic.
Yep.
He was bragging on the chat that he was going to destroy that guy, and then when the debate started, after the first 3 minutes, when he realized that Shane was pretty versed in what he was talking about, he backed out completely.
Yes. He also did the same thing with Aaron Raw. I tried to facilitate a meeting between the two of them, and Aaron offered, and he said no, just flat out outright no. And so it seems to be that anyone that's actually educated on the criticisms of Islam, he won't talk to.
Oh, he goes after him and his group just likes to go against people that are philosophically illiterate, so they can dominate the conversation or claim they won every debate. They're only there for winning. They're not there for disgusting.
Yeah, he was telling me that he's going to debate apostate prophet, and honestly, apostate prophet isn't really that good when it comes to philosophy. So, anyway,
he's popular though. He's super popular. So if we can get apostate prophet to debate him here, that would be awesome. Get a main stage event going with that. That'd be hilarious.
Hey Tom, I have a question. Tom, I have a question. Can I ask you a question? All right. So, let's say this you became president like right now, and you got to implement your morality in this country.
What?
Okay. So does your morality as it is implemented to issues that are actually on the ground, would it favor one side of our political spectrum, or would it be nonpartisan?
It would hit more of the Democratic things than the Republican things.
Okay, I see. So let's see. No involuntary.
Democrats are more moral. Their political system is geared towards more moral policies. The Republican system is geared towards more pragmatic policies, saying we cannot implement the moral things yet because we don't have enough money. Those are the two positions. So obviously, Democrats are trying to give more people more rights as much as possible. And the argument against that is we don't have enough money to provide everyone with everything they want yet. So we can't. So they're both legitimate positions.
That sounds accurate in my opinion. And so all right, so then according to your morality, you're okay with anti-vaxxers?
Sort of. Like, I don't think we should force them to take the vaccine.
Okay.
They should have the option to like homeschool or whatever if they don't want to take it.
Okay. Homeschool or private schools, things like that.
But if they're like Mary? Yeah. If she was the lady who they had to keep permanently quarantined for the rest of her life because she was a carrier.
Oh, yeah. One who had that super spreader thing. Something Mary. Yeah. Polio Mary, Oxy Mary, something Death Mary. Know exactly what you're talking about. Don't remember what it's called now. She had a catchy little death name though.
Carlos, anything you want to say?
Typhoid Mary.
Typhoid Mary, that's the one.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, 1 second. We're going to answer Walker. Yeah, so if someone was actually like a super spreader like that and they could cause a significant amount of harm, then obviously we could imprison them for the safety of society. We shouldn't. It's still immoral. But That's just not the case. COVID isn't as deadly or spreadable as typhoid is, so it's not. It wouldn't be as bad.
Should probably just put them on the front lines in a war.
That would be using a biological weapon. That would be a war crime.
Well, you know.
Well, is it deadly enough to be a weapon or not?
Well, if you like deliberately put anyone who's sick, even if it doesn't work, it's still a war crime. So it would still be a war crime either way. This wouldn't be an effective war crime.
Kind of like shooting them with used socks. I'm sure one of them would get sick eventually.
Yeah.
Hey, Carlos, are you there? Go ahead, man.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hi. Yeah. I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm a bit new to this Discord server. Just still trying to figure it out, to be honest. But yeah, I've spoken to you once before, Tom, on your call-in show when you had the dial-in version, and I actually called in on the international number. I think there was a bit of a delay as well, which was a bit annoying. But I think I enjoy this a bit easier. But yeah, just going. I just thought I'd jump in because you were talking about the guy Khalil, who used to be an atheist. I think I was speaking to the UK Muslim guys that helped convert him to Islam. I go on their streams quite often and debate with them just for my own personal journey. I'm not like great in philosophy or anything. I'm just sort of learning as I go and just consuming all of this sort of content and stuff. But I wondered,
could you put links to when they do live streams? Like, is that the same as the what's his name? The guy who banned me.
Sabor. No, Hamza's Den.
Yeah, if those are other channels that I could like hop in and do debates with Muslims with, put links to those in the descriptions or in the Discord somewhere so I can find them.
Yeah, sure.
TJump, it's called the Todd Adventure Podcast. They're on every Sunday around 3 p.m., 4 p.m. Eastern time. It's usually every Sunday.
Oh, cool.
I think it's actually every 2 weeks. Normally it's every 2 weeks.
They do some every week. Sometimes they're in our Facebook groups. Every one of them in the Todd Adventure Podcast. They're in our Facebook groups.
Cool. I'll definitely check that out. So Sundays at like 2.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Like, I heard rumors they wanted to invite you in one of their shows, but then they said they would not invite you.
Yeah, well, I kind of get the impression that they don't like you for whatever reason. I don't know.
They do not debate anybody that has any knowledge in philosophy. That's their whole school. They pick people that don't know much about philosophy so they can dominate and claim victory. That's what they do.
Are you guys talking about the Thought Adventure or whatever Thought Adventure podcast?
Jake the Muslim metaphysician, Sharif,
Right.
Abdul,
I
Youssef.
actually sent them a message and or an email, and it was really professional. And I told them about Tom and maybe letting Tom go in there, but they never messaged me back. So
we asked them. They asked me. I paid for Justin talking to Tom, right? So basically, they wanted a lot of Christians because they attack the Christians every day on the Trinity and the logical contradiction of the Trinity. So they attack the Christians every day. So the Christians asked me if I would pay Tom to go on the Todd Adventure Podcast. So I said, yeah. I said, if you want him to go there, I'll contact Tom and just set it up. And if they accept Tom, I said, I will pay for Tom to go there if you want it, because they're friends of mine. So I pay for them because I'm not hurting for money. I'm not one guy that hurts for money. So, but when they talked to the Todd Adventure Podcast, they said that they did not want to debate Tom because they said Tom was underneath them. But the joke is that they're debating tons of people that's way underneath Tom. So they were just lying. Then the joke was that they just don't want to debate Tom. That's all.
I'll see if I can go into one of their live streams on Sunday. I'll see if they kick me out.
Yeah, usually their conversation, their topics are very limited. They pick like the incarnation, the atonement, the Trinity. There was one they talked about there not too long ago, the hard problem of consciousness. They don't bring those atheistic topics too often. And an atheist can go there and talk about it. It's usually about the Christian. They attack the Christians quite a bit.
Well, Carlos, did you have a question that you wanted to ask?
Yeah, well, I was going to ask if you were willing to debate them, but you kind of answered that already.
Yeah,
but yeah,
sure.
but I did want to ask you a couple of questions about your morality, if you wouldn't mind going into
All right.
that. Is that all right?
There's a morality section with a pinned comment that answers most questions people ask, but sure.
Oh, okay. Well, I can save it for that if you want. That's fine.
Yeah, I get the same questions over and over and over again. So it's mostly just, can you think of a better system? If not, then I'm right. That's it.
No, that's fair enough. That's cool. But yeah, no, as I say, I am quite good friends with one of the guys on the podcast. I do message him, and I asked him if the guys would be willing to have you on, because I know that they get into a lot of more philosophical discussions, more so on their Thought Adventure podcast. So I thought you'd be perfect for it. But I did kind of get the impression from him, and when I went on there last night and I gave a response to something, they came back and said to me that my answer sounded just like TJump and TJump nonsense and stuff like that. And I was thinking, where does that come from? Because I do consume your content as much as anyone else, but they were my own beliefs, and as soon as that come about, I kind of got the impression that maybe they are avoiding you. So I think
that sounds like that TJump nonsense that we have no response.
Yeah.
TJump, why did you get banned from Hamza's den?
He said it was because in a comment I said I was more interested in money than truth.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you schooled them. When I saw you on there, I think you did school them. Definitely, Sabor and Hamza specifically.
Yeah,
I
it was definitely
you
entertaining.
You blew their minds a little bit, especially when you came out with your objective morality. I think they didn't obviously see that coming. But yeah, it was quite entertaining.
And I find the only one that's half decent of the entire group is Hamza Sources, but you don't see him much anymore, like for some reason.
Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah. The rest I don't find them any good at all. But the Hamza Sources, I don't mind him. And I find he's a little bit honest to, like, if you get him in an argument, he will admit that he's wrong. And I know at first he wasn't like that, but lately I find him to be a little bit more honest.
Yeah, I like Hamza Tortes. I liked him in his debate with Lawrence Krauss, and I would like to have a conversation with him sometime for sure.
Daryl Hamza got caught lying, got caught using an argument that was no longer valid, and after the argument, completely lied. Like he's a complete fraud. Him and Hijab there, Daryl Hamza and Hijab are, I think, they're complete frauds.
Yeah, I think the first time I ever discovered you, Tom, was I actually went on to the Muslim SC Dawah live stream. It's the first time I'd ever done anything like that. And I think you came on just after me. And then that's how I sort of learned about you. And I thought, wow, this guy, and you were going up against Hamza Sources, Mohammed Hijab, Sabor, and someone else. And yeah, I've been following you since then. Yeah.
Yeah, what was funny, what was good about that talk you had with them? You were 1 against 4 or 5, and you were calm as fuck. Like you weren't blinking. I couldn't believe how calm you were. I thought you would maybe get a little excited or something. Nope, you're pretty calm in that one. That was pretty impressive, I thought.
Alex.
Hey, Carlos, are you a former Muslim as well, or?
No, I used to be Catholic when I was growing up, but I did philosophy of religion at school and then left Catholicism from there. And I think probably about 5 years ago, I went down a rabbit hole of like evolution and Dawkins and Hitchens and all of that, and then the new atheist stuff. And but I go on to these Muslim streams just to challenge myself and just try and improve my debate skills. So I agree with what you were saying earlier about with Claire and having just having opposing views and just finding ways to try and navigate them or address them. I think free speech, absolutely.
Yeah, we're here.
Never mind.
Well, I'm happy we got this all sorted out. So I'm happy about that.
I'm gonna get some food. I'll see you guys later.
All right.
Yeah.
Bye, Tom. Thank you.
All right, guys. I'm gonna close it out.
All
And,
y'all's moms.
All y'all's mom. All y'all's mom. That's gonna be our closing statement every time. All y'all's mom.
Who's your daddy?
Who's that? Oh, that's another good one. All right, guys. Peace out.
Nice to meet you guys.
Thanks, Ryan.
All right, bye, Carlos.
Bye-bye.
All right.